It is upgrade time for the very exciting 1/8 scale Axial Gilamon buggy right here. And we're gonna find out just what it's capable of. What's up everyone, FC here from RC Review. I did a unboxing and review of this guy, first impressions right here. And let me tell you, the best thing I can say about it is a new category of buggy. So it opens up a lot of new possibilities. And box stock, it is very usable. You know, it can handle a lot of lines that a lot of custom rigs, $1,000 rigs cannot, box stock. So that means it's a good platform. It's a good starting point. And it looked really beefy. It looked like it could do a lot more. So I got to upgrading, and I'm not very good at upgrading these buggies. They're a little harder to work on, but I got to work. And what I did, the first opportunity, of course, was not that it needed that much, was the motor. The motor is a 550 can 21 turn right here with a 70 amp ESC. And it was kind of slow. You know, maybe 4 miles an hour, but it had good modulation, good punch, good drag brake, so it can definitely, you make do. But then, you know, I'm a Hobbywing Fusion Pro fan, right? Boom. But I said, oh, this is a big, heavy rig. This can do a lot of things, but it might not be the best for the application. So I contacted Hobbywing and they sent me a sweatshirt, but they also sent me the new motor, the 1/8 scale Fusion Pro. It's called the Fusion 8, and it's in 2300 kV as well, just like this. I said, what does that do? And so I wasn't sure, but then when it came, it was a much bigger can and a huge shaft, you know, the 5mm shaft. So I said, all right, that's cool. That's cool. So I got to upgrading, and we have it now right here. So it fit right in, dropped right in. I'm not sure if I did everything right. I dropped the skid, and then I took out the motor mount, and then I said, okay, what's going on here? 14 to 18 tooth pinion is what it allowed, and it came stock with a 14 tooth. And this motor, the 2300 kV, is about the same speed as this guy. So it was gonna get about 4-5 miles an hour. So I said, oh man. Luckily, all I had was an 18 tooth. It's a 48 pitch with a big shaft. All I have is an 18 tooth, so I've shoved it in there, and I said, okay, I hope it works. But that is the huge advantage of going with a bigger can, is you can go with a bigger pinion and still get the modulation. In fact, it is working right now. And there is our slow speed control. So it's all there. It's FOC. So it should, look at that, you go right over my hand. So now we're talking about, like, this is an 18 tooth pinion. You know, 4 divided by 14, so it's much bigger. Okay. So now we're talking my language, right? You get maybe the best of both worlds, and I think the running footage will prove that to you, yay or nay. Okay, the next upgrade I did was the servo. The servo was pretty admirable, an 18 kg metal gear with a very nice 25 tooth servo horn. So it well spec'd for stock, but you know, having big tires, more tires, and a bigger axle gives you more leverage on the steering. So this thing gonna do a lot more work, and also it's an open wheel, so it's gonna be exposed. So I put in, all I had was a raw 500 from Reefs. And I'm just running stock 6 volt voltage right now, but might be a little fast. Usually you need more torque than speed, okay? But that's what I got, and man, it did not hold me back on my test run. So the next upgrade I did were the tires. The tires were a problem for me because I have an S ton of 1.9 tires, 4.7 inch diameter, but these require bigger ones, okay? And if there was a big weakness on this vehicle, it is the tires. So what the problem with the tires is the foam seems really hard. Maybe it'll break in, but this is kind of their standard Axial compound, and it's a decent tread. It could be more open, but I knew it was holding it back. It was able to do a lot of lines, and the other thing is you couldn't change the foam. These are not bead locks, so wish they were bead locks. Not that hard to do. What I found on the shelf, it was slim pickings, was these Hyrax, these Chinese Hyrax copies from Relardo. The final upgrade I did, and it was not that necessary, is the radio. I just had this. The fact that it was a 5-channel radio compatible with the high-end Spectrum. This is an IXSR. I said, okay, give me a chance to use this Android-looking thing, and it's cool. It's much better on the hands. It's all USB, and battery lasts forever, but it's so programmable, and I think that's going to unlock the power of this guy. So one flick, and now the ASD is locked on the right rear. You can see it's not moving, and then boom, release. So it's very natural on my turning motion. And then I can even do things like mix it, meaning when I turn it, it'll automatically ASD it on the rear. The other thing is you can ASD the front, you can ASD the transmission, you can do a lot of things, and you do need a powerful remote to do that. So enjoy the running video. Come back to me and I'll give you strengths and weaknesses so far of this vehicle. All right, onto the test drive. So notice it doesn't quite fit this little alley. A 10 scale vehicle has no problem. And we're gonna do this line twice. Once with no ASD. So right there I had to back up. And then here I'm gonna have to back up again so I can get these lines going. And right here, this is very impressive because it's a whole left front just climbs over. Got good steering radius, and the left rear just climbs over as well. Yeah, even though it seems like it's gonna be a trap. So right here, we're gonna do the ASD. Left rear is locked, and I'm able to make that turn, that super tight turn, no problem. It's just hugging that rock, and right there, good clearance is essential here. These are big rocks. The left rear is still locked. I'm trying to position myself, and I notice it's not going to climb, so I flick the ASD, release it, and back up a little, ever so slightly, and now I have 4-wheel drive again instead of 3-wheel drive. And all right, doing well here. And then this is the hard right turn. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lock the right rear, and boom, it's able to position itself right there. So very cool. It's still locked, and I probably have to release it. Oh, I did. And now it's able to do the normal line. So possibilities, would not have been able to do that without ASD. And I think there's more situations like that where if there's a cliff or something, you don't have to it'll reposition itself with ASD. So right here I'm going the other way, and very cool. This vehicle, even though it's wide, all the articulation allows it to kind of side climb a rock, put one wheel on a rock if there's not enough room, and it's going to be fine. So very cool experience. And then this, we rarely climb this anymore because they're so difficult. Mind you, today it just rained a lot, so a lot of these rocks are fairly slick. So a lot more possibilities, and there's no brass weights on this vehicle at all. 55% front, 45 rear, and it's doing well. And right here, this is a 1/10 scale Type Pro vehicle with Vanquish axles. Give you a reference size and performance. And this Gilamon is just walking all over this course, which is kind of incredible. The Type Pro is a very high-end vehicle with Proline tires and all that jazz. And right here, you can see there's mud on the tires on the Gilamon, and it's fine. Really cool that the Hobby Wing gives it that little blip. So handy. Right here, this is difficult. Easy to modulate. And right here, I'm gonna do a few punch moves, speed up the footage right here, and then put the hammer down, and then boom, it just goes over. Sometimes you see the tires in a jammed up situation, but you're not afraid to try a little more because it is a beefy build. Alright, we're gonna close it out with some fast action. And this thing is kind of a rock racer style. Got some good speed. Good punch. And the vehicle is burly enough to handle it. And here I'm going to jump these rocks. Boom. So pretty cool. It's got a little bomber in it. Not made for it, but has that big sweet spot. So have a lot of fun with this. All right, strengths and weaknesses, pros and cons. The pros, it runs like a champ. Runs, like a Dominator box stock. It will do better than a lot of custom 1/10 scale rigs. The 1/10 scale rig I was running with was probably a $1,000, $1,500 rig, and this thing is just pretty darn good. But when you open it up, it's got so much possibility that it's gonna do new lines, new possibilities. The rock racer, the bump, the rolling ability of this guy is impressive. The fact that I opened it up and found out how beefy everything is gave me the confidence to just ram the rocks. You have some King of the Hammers capabilities with this guy for sure. Mind you, it has a significant underdrive, 30% underdrive. So when it's running it on pavement, I'm like, what is it doing? It's kind of bouncing. So when you are just wide opening it, the underdrive is really affects it, but not a big deal because mostly when you're on dirt, you hardly notice all these things. It's only on pavement if you're driving on the highway that a big overdrive like that is going to affect you. So definitely the upside is the performance, the capability, the way it sits, how beefy everything is. I can't imagine I'm going to break this thing because, it is burly. On the downsides department, a big one I think is the way ASD works is you have to unload it, and unload it means you kind of have to back up to release it. So to lock it, it just locks on the fly like that. But when you're ready to release it, so if you are on power, it's still locked, okay? And then I'm gonna release everything. It's still locked. What you need to do is unload it a little bit, just back it up ever so slightly, and then now you are free and clear. So the fact that you have to do that, back up, unload is could be a disadvantage. Another weakness is the tires. The tires are not that good. The foam is a little hard. I think they did that to support the side hill, actually the sidewall, but that made the top pretty hard. Maybe it'll break in. But I wish there were bead locks. If there were bead locks, easy to solve with your custom foam. I think you could do quite a bit with this with a 3D printed foam. But because they are glued on, hard to change. All right. Another weakness is the pinion, 14 to 18 tooth pinion range. It's just a very small space that you can move it at is a little bit limited. And the fact that it's already 14, the lowest when you're box stock means you can't lower your gearing anymore. You can increase it, but you can't lower it. I'm pretty jazzed. Look at how it's tuned from the factory, and the video that I did just running yesterday. First shot on most of those lines. I've never done those lines because they're just kind of impractical, undoable. But this guy was just blip, boom, pretty darn cool vehicle. The Axial Gilamon. Thanks a ton.